I'm really excited because it's a fantastic play, brilliant story, and we've assembled a fantastic group of actors, and that's always a pleasure. I think at the heart of the play, it's a play about friendship, and I think that young people are very interested in friendship, and friendships when you're a teenager are very intense. This play is about two men who manage to find a friendship, who are very, very unlikely. You wouldn't expect them to be friends, but they're very, very close in their way. And actually it's their saving grace, because this is a play in which a lot of people are alone, and these men have found a way of working and being together. I think what's really interesting about when you start rehearsals is that a lot of work has already been done. So I've worked for a long time with a designer. The design is has already been decided before we go into rehearsal. So a lot of decisions have been made, where it's set, what it looks like, what people will be wearing. So in some ways, the actors come in midway through that creative process. And obviously, I've lived with the play for a long time. So I've been reading it for a long time. I've been thinking and studying it and doing a lot of research around it. So I think that the first few days is about trying to get everybody up onto the same playing field, so that we have everybody gets to see the design, has a chance to talk to the designers about their costume, has a chance to read the play together. And however much you read a play comes alive with the actors there, and the play is different depending on who's in it. So you don't really know that play until you've heard it, and the actors need to hear each other, and I need to hear the actors. And it's a great opportunity the first few days as well, just to ask all sorts of questions. I mean, there are things in this play, obviously it's written in English, but it's American English, it's a particular state and a particular time, and there are even words in there that we don't use anymore, that all of us have to understand. Stuff about the landscape is incredibly different to the UK, so understanding something about the landscape and how it affects and impacts on the way people react to each other and their bodies, accents, the historical context of the play and what was happening historically at the time that the play was written. So there's a lot of conversations to be had about the direction in which we're taking the production, and I think those happen quite early on, just to start setting that, so that when you start getting up on your feet, so I would spend the first 2 or 3 days around the table reading the play, talking and looking at the research, and then sort of midway of the first week get up on our feet and start looking very carefully at the text. There's just some, there are some things that we're already all thinking about. And then you spend quite a lot of time. You often go through a scene 2 or 3 times, and you break up. I break up the scene, so I work in detail with, say, on the first scene with George and Lennie for an afternoon, and then we'd leave it, and then a few days later we'd come back to it, and by that time the actors might have learnt their lines, so then we're able to physicalise it a bit more. And then you're hoping by the 3rd week that we've done the scenes enough times and that we've got enough sense of a shape of it that we can begin to put it together and run sections of it. And obviously while you're talking about the text, you're also deciding where the actors are going to be and where they're going to stand. And then other people's inputs come in, so we have a movement director who will work with the actors on their personal movement as the characters, but also on the scene changes, because we have big scene changes. We have to move from outdoors to indoors, from the bunkhouse to the thresher, and all those scene changes have to be done by the actors. Those have to be choreographed. And then we have to work with a composer, because there's a lot of underscoring and there's some live singing in the play that they need to learn that. So they're having to learn a lot of stuff and take it all in, and then I have to start putting all these things together.